Oops.
Have you clapped?
5, 4,
Okay.
3, 2, 1, live.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Boom.
Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 118 with Scott Hollis. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, you should be because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I'm one of your hosts. I want to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored. That is something that has changed within the past couple of weeks for whatever reason. So we'll try to do our best to be somewhat classy, but things do slip out. So listen to us at your own discretion.
I feel like you set that up last week because we're having Scott on.
That was it. Yep.
You're like, I got to fix this thing.
We're bringing a big timer on here. We got to prepare
Very
the people
strategic.
for the ball to drop. Guess what?
What?
We have an app.
We do have an app.
I want to tell you about it.
Tell us.
For $3.99 a month.
Happy birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
to you. Oh, please don't drop that.
Look at here.
Birthday
to
you.
Happy
birthday, dear Wilson.
I'm so happy.
Happy birthday to you.
This is the nicest thing in the world. Oh, man. 24.
Are those
24.
Are those what I think they
Man,
are?
You are young.
They're little sparkler candles. I think.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
That's
Hold
good.
it right over the audio equipment.
Over the audio equipment.
yes, please.
That's perfect.
Aw.
I'm not worried about it. It's worth it if it burns down.
Oh, well, you're going to be
We burnt
24
the
instead of
studio
42.
down.
That
Good
is
idea.
so
Hold it right now.
nice.
Hold it right over the wooden shoes.
So,
You get the idea.
The one works.
y'all are the greatest people in the world. I am
Yeah.
so happy. It has been a great day.
Look at that.
Who's responsible for that?
Brian.
That's pretty sweet.
Amanda, you're
These
the
two
best.
individuals.
There we go.
There we go. Great job.
Yay.
You did good. You all did good.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
It's been a great birthday.
Thank you, Brian, for getting those out there.
This is the first show with pyro.
That's right.
We just took the show to a whole nother level.
We did. At one point in time, for our 100th episode, we were going to borrow your fog machine.
Now we have to have fire every time.
Is there anything in y'all's ear making a rattle? There's something in mine. I'm hoping
Nope.
it's my headphones.
Must be you.
So cool. All right. Well,
So what about that app?
Sorry to interrupt.
that's all right. For that, you can interrupt me anytime that you want. Anytime you're bringing me cupcakes and balloons and things that are on fire, then I want to be interrupted.
You have to eat all those cupcakes after the show.
That's the easiest thing I'll be asked to do all month.
Incidentally, those kind of smell like a fog machine, as I just got a little whiff.
Do
of
they?
The,
They do smell funny.
They're like sparklers.
Do you have a fog machine
Have
that
several.
we can use just to have just in case?
Sure. Because what we want to really start doing is doing the fog machine and then having like the guests come in.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I like the
That,
wrestling.
that would be great.
Like
Have
a
intro music
tunnel.
for the-
That's what we need to put in a door right there so that they can come in that way and then sit down on the couch
Yep.
through the fog.
Totally. I got some strobe lights too. I have like extra strobe lights in a box, like giant box full of strobe lights. You can have those.
Each guest gets their own intro music.
Exactly.
And we should get a podcast like a Champion Today sign that everybody hits on their way in. Like the football
Oh, that's the
players do.
thing. That's going to have to happen.
Talk like a
Okay.
champion.
Let me tell you about the app. It's a
Please
champion.
tell
The
us
app is a
about the
champion. For $3.99 a month, you can be part of the Lift Heavy Run Long community on the app, and you will get included in your calendar three body weight exercises per week, 4 barbell strength exercises, and 4 WODs provided by our trainer, Valerie Hunt, who is the best in the world. For $9.99 a month, you can have access to any one of the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer for any distance or basically any type of fitness endeavor, from 5Ks to 100 milers to triathlons to Spartan obstacle races. If the goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So if you know someone who does not have $3.99 a month, but you think that fitness would enhance their lives, then please have them email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and they're free to use the app free of charge.
As long as they send a link to their 5-star review that they've already left.
We would love a 5-star review in exchange for that. However, if all they need is the fitness, then we're happy to deliver that because we are that good of people.
Do people out there know how good Valerie Hunt is at what she does?
No.
She is a world-class running coach.
People know. People do know.
Like the world-class people know.
But people, like if you're just an average person or a person that goes to just a regular gym and isn't involved in CrossFit or isn't involved in running and CrossFit or whatever, like you may not know, she is a very well-known coach in pose. She's like a very high-level pose method running coach. She ran CrossFit Endurance. Like she was in charge of that entire program.
Right?
Yeah.
And McKenzie.
Well, the pose method she learned from Dr. Romanoff, who invented the pose method.
And I want to say she's like the only master level coach for pose running. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just in the U.S. or is that worldwide?
Anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we take for
And we
granted
have access to her in our app
correct
day after day after day.
anytime, and she'll respond to
Awesome.
any question you have. You think with somebody at that level that
she does that so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing she does better than anything is respond to athlete questions. I mean, on social media, on email, on text messages, on whatever, she will just fire right back. I mean, she is just, and she's smart too. You know, she knows what. I get a message, and I'm like, okay, let me think about all these ways I can answer this question. And dude, she doesn't even think about it. She just like, bam, fires it back. You know,
She's still doing the video analysis too?
yes.
Yep.
But there is such a lack of, I don't want to say a lack of demand for it because there's such a need for it, but there's such a lack of people who are willing to do that until they run and they get hurt.
Or if they don't know they need it.
Well, they don't know that, and that's the thing. Like a majority of people don't realize. They just think, well, what can I do to get in shape? I'm going to go start running, and maybe I'll run a marathon. Well, I'm going to go put my shoes on tomorrow and go run 5 miles and see what happens. And then they just start running, and then they run more, and they're like, well, I should probably run even more, and then I should run some more, and then they end up injured. And nobody ever takes time to ask someone to help them correct their form or show them what they need to be doing. You know, it's just like Olympic weightlifting. Like you don't just walk up into a gym and go, "Hey, I'm gonna start snatching. Let me pick this bar up and throw it over my head." Like people don't treat running in the same way. Like for Olympic weightlifting, you'd go hire a coach, right?
Because it is so foreign. But running, you think you already know.
But
how to
running,
do
it's
it.
like, oh, this is easy. I just put my running shoes on that I bought at the store, and I'm going to go take off.
Yeah, run over there quickly.
But you never think about asking somebody, hey, what should I do? You know, coach me and tell me how I should be running and how far I should be running. What should I be doing? You know?
Speaking of asking for help, I want somebody to help us build our own app, like one that we can customize and we have complete control over. I know what I want it to look like and what I want to do, which I guess everybody knows what they want something to do. It's a matter of getting it to do that.
Right.
The people at NASA know they want their rocket to go to space. It's just a matter of finding people who can get said rocket into space.
I think there was an issue about that this week, I believe.
Last night.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah. There was a
mishap?
Russian rocket that I think it was during stage 1, stage 2 separation. They had an issue, and luckily the crew capsule was able to eject. They did a ballistic ejection.
That's what. Yeah, I couldn't remember the fancy word. I knew it was a cool sounding word for basically just shit.
Yeah. But I was trying to find. I actually, it's funny that you bring that up. I was trying to find something that said that this wasn't the first time that we've successfully basically saved astronauts during a rocket mishap. Like, it seems like every other time, everything's lost, and especially the astronauts or whatever. So I think this is the first time that we've had a successful ejection of astronauts and their lives weren't forfeit as a result of the rocket, misfiring.
I mean, not really. It's all fake anyway. You know that, right?
Flat Earthers.
Fake and
but
flat.
that ballistic reentry or whatever it was, that should be the new coming in hot.
That sounds like a band.
Speaking of hot,
Reentry.
my wife's sitting right next to me.
Oh, we've totally hijacked your usual
was a
spiel.
segue.
Well, I got to get around. I just got to get around, and then I can get comfortable. But first, I have to get the introduction done. But we're doing
He
good.
has his process.
That's right. Rain Man had his thing. And there's a way for him to win.
Just
at the
count the
table.
matchsticks,
He's
Wilson.
gotta
Of course, I'm an excellent
definitely
podcast.
time to talk about
Get
Jack
him
and
back
Tan.
in time for
Definitely.
Wapner. So I have
Right,
to get
right,
back in
right.
time for Wapner.
I'm an excellent podcast.
Definitely time to talk about Jackson Tan.
I'm an excellent podcaster.
It's an excellent podcast.
I'm an excellent podcaster.
Oh, man. I don't know why I put up with it. The most wonderful woman in the world, the amazing Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, also known as Jackson Tan.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for my birthday
You're welcome.
stuff. That's so thoughtful.
You're
You're such
welcome.
a good gift giver.
Thank you.
So good to me, and I just love it. Makes me happy.
Well, good. I'm glad you've had a good day.
How's your week?
It's been going well.
Good?
Work's calmed down a little bit.
Yeah?
And I just have to say I didn't get a chance to speak, but we need a Valerie Hunt on here.
Yes, for sure. Valerie Hunt needs to live here. That we could really produce if she.
I really
lived here.
wish. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's
Yeah. But anyway, it's been a good week.
not. Good. Glad to hear that. We have the amazing Scott Hollis, the 2008 jousting champion, and recently won the Boston Marathon
Twice.
2016. So we're glad to have
Twice.
him.
Nice.
Twice in 2016.
Right. I ran
in
it twice. It was consecutive.
in the same year. Scott is our gym attorney, prominent attorney here in Olive Branch, Mississippi, the Hollis Firm, and he's gonna. We're gonna talk about the daily dumbbell, what we have going on there, some changes that are going on in CrossFit, and kind of the future of CrossFit, if you will, and whatever else comes up.
Also, the lawyer for Lift Heavy, Run Long.
Also,
right.
the lawyer for Lift
Also,
Heavy
the
Run.
lawyer for Run RX.
That's right.
Way long time ago.
I didn't know that. Okay. All right. Well, does that mean that, what if Run RX and Lift Heavy Run Long got into a conflict
Then I couldn't be the lawyer for either.
for either of them? You couldn't.
That'd be right
you
out.
couldn't be like, Wilson, I like you more, and I want to take your side.
Nope.
No way.
Nope. Right out.
Even if you cleared it with Vaughn or Valerie.
Well, there are conflicts and then that are waivable, and there are conflicts that are not waivable.
Okay.
But if you're going directly head to head over things that I know about from both of you, that's probably a not waivable conflict.
All right. The Reverend
Hello.
Vaughn Rawls.
Hey.
Fresh off of a vacation / anniversary
I know.
/ family outing.
Wow, crazy.
/ hurricane avoidance.
Yes.
That's true.
Trip.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys came back on time. You didn't have to leave early, right?
That's true.
Okay.
There's kind of some ominous clouds on the beach from some of your last pictures, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was getting pretty gnarly, but we had planned.
Scott
we-
says ominous. Vaughn says gnarly.
I wasn't a skater.
We had kind of kicked around the idea of staying another day.
Oh, yeah.
We had paid for another day, but it was like we're gonna go because everybody else is going, and it looks pretty bad. So they gave us our money back for that day, and
Oh, that's nice.
we
Oh,
just
nice.
took off. Yeah, so
Cool.
yeah.
You mind me asking how you and Holly got in that big ass chair?
We just jumped right up there,
It looks so big, like you'd need a ladder to get up there.
and we jumped up there. I jumped up there, and then I helped her get up there.
Okay. You think I could get up there?
Yeah, man, you can get in there. That was a cool picture, though, man.
Yeah, it was. It's a great
I like
picture.
that.
That's a monster.
Gives
That's a
me all the
mother of
feels
a
when I
chair.
look at that picture. Yeah.
a
That's
great
like
picture.
like the little bar muscle up kind of functional fitness
No,
thing.
it's not that bad. Not quite.
It was
it's more
probably
of
what,
like
like 3 or 4 feet off the ground.
He
like that
vaulted
front?
it.
Yeah, I
onto
mean, it was probably up to my waist.
Yeah, 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of monsters, we have the best looking cameraman in the business, Big Thirsty Brian Swanson.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Big
Happy
thirsty.
birthday again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the gesture. So kind.
Yeah, man.
I'm so glad that I didn't reprimand you when you got up to leave. I want to be like, what's the deal, man? Had all this time to get
He
ready
did
for
frown.
I
He's like,
was really surprised they texted me earlier and told me they were going to do that, and I was like, let's see how
I think
that
that's
works.
why. I think that's why Amanda wanted me to go get the cupcakes because she didn't want to get in trouble herself.
What if I would have thrown a big fit?
I
Just a big meltdown.
thought in my head that he's going to say, "Where are you going?
This is-
What are you
This
doing?"
is also why I included Amanda to make sure that it wouldn't be a thing that might set you off. So, anyways,
Y'all are good. I love y'all so much. 24-hour race, dudes.
How are y'all
24
feeling?
hours of running ish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
ish.
go. I didn't go as long as I would have.
First in your age group.
Holla.
I know that because
Really?
I
Wow.
took second.
That's great. You also got there 6 hours after I got there, which was helpful. Thank you for that, by the way,
Thank you for working.
Yeah.
for being employed.
So how'd
Yes.
that race go for you?
It was the best 25 miles I've ever had. I felt great, but it was just
Through 25 miles and
through
then wheels
25
fell off.
miles, and then really nothing fell off, but my nipples. My nipples fell off, and so did my grundle. Like the chafe was just so bad.
What's a grundle?
His taint.
Yeah. it's that area, it's the forbidden zone.
Wow, that's a cool word.
And
I've never heard that either. Grundle.
it was a bad situation. It was so hot. God,
It was so hot. When we
So-
started that thing.
Yeah, so the race starts at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, I showed up at 5, got all my stuff unpacked, and I was running by 5:30. And based on how fast I was running, you'd have thought I was trying to catch you in the first 2 hours of being out there.
You're very right.
I was just, I literally was like walking, but still managing to do like 9:45, 9:50 miles the first 4 or 5 miles. So I was going way too fast.
So how many miles did you end up with?
32, 33-ish. But the funny thing is, so I finished the first 13 miles, a half marathon, in about 2.5 hours. The next 13 miles took me 7 hours.
Nice. What about our guest, Kate Lyman? She ran 50
She killed
miles.
it. She killed it.
Man, it
She
was
had
so
fun.
fun. So they hung out at the LHRL tent
Yeah.
Good,
while they
good.
were there, and we just had a blast with them. And at some point they came by, and they were she had brought 2 of her friends with her, and they were about to go out, and I was like, I'm going to run with you guys if I can keep up. And she's like, come on. And it was just really fun to be out there with them because they agreed that it sucked. They agreed that the conditions were miserable, but they were still very, very positive and like just happy that
They
were
were
out
happy.
there.
They were laughing and having
They were
fun.
just having a big old time and talking about whatever. And they were definitely, they don't like the silence. So if anybody was quiet for too long, somebody came up with a topic of conversation, which was fine, as long as I wasn't the one that had to be talking. I was dropping in little pieces and tidbits into the conversation, but I just didn't want to have to be the one carrying the
That's
conversation
kind
the whole
of how
time.
I felt when I was running with Amanda and her buddies at Tunnel Hill. When I realized there's like 3 doctors, and I couldn't participate in this conversation at all because I'm just too dumb.
Other than to say something like, I've had that rash before. that
Oh
you're
yeah,
talking about.
I pooped that way one time. Poop, I know about poop.
I poop. Well, congratulations to you for winning your age group, Amanda.
Oh, thank you. That was a surprise.
How many
Yeah.
miles did you end up with?
Including the Chris Hope thing, I did 40.
Okay.
Well, there
I
you
did
go.
officially 33 there, but you catch that mile.
right.
So I did 34 at the race and then did my 6 at Chris Hope's.
Nice.
So you told me that this morning. So let's make sure that all the listeners understand that little detail because you just kind of glossed over it. So you entered a 24-hour race, which you started. Then at some point, well into the 24-hour race,
Oh, yeah.
you left the race site, drove somewhere else,
We drove from.
ran another race,
Yes.
then returned to the 24-hour race
To pack up
complete-
our stuff and go home. We did not return.
we
to do
all
any more
had
Did
the
running.
not return. You guys ran. So
we had the
you all-
intention of going back to the 24-hour race and continuing to run,
Yes.
but we were all stick a fork in us done
Over it.
after the 10K.
Yes.
And so we drove back to the 24-hour race, packed up our stuff, and went home.
You say that like
we
you're
did not
surprised.
run another mile.
Well,
if
the goal was
if the
to keep
weather had
going.
been better,
Yes.
I
was
totally.
it storming or was it?
No,
It
it
was
was
just hot.
hot.
It was
so
so hot.
It was hot. No clouds
I
in the
literally
sky.
got nauseous packing up my tent and putting all my stuff in my truck. My idea had been I was going to get back to the 24-hour race, break down all my tent and stuff so that I could just go when I was ready to go. But then I'd sit there for a minute, catch my breath, and then I'd go do 2 or 3 more miles because Wilson was only 2 or 3 miles in front of me. I could have taken first place, but I didn't even have the energy for that because I was literally almost on the verge of puking after loading up my truck.
But
And
then we went to Harry Potter, and
we went to
everything
Harry
was better
Potter.
then.
Had a big old time at Harry Potter.
Yes. And we met a fan.
Holly, and she's watching right now.
Oh, is she?
Holly.
She friended me today on Facebook.
Holly Trim, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes, Holly Trim.
Yeah.
Hi, Holly.
So we're sitting at Majestic Grill beforehand, and she says something about liking, Amanda and Lynn Aaron's outfits, and then Brittany later's when she showed up. So we traded, pleasantries with her and whoever she was with, and then went over to the Orpheum, and Lynn and Brittany had walked away, and so Amanda and I are just standing there talking, and she comes back up, and I'm thinking, she's like, "Oh, hey, it's good to see you," blah, blah, blah. She's like, "Just so you know, I'm a huge fan of the podcast," and we're like, "What?"
What?
Like, how random is that we were
Yeah.
sitting right next to her at the Majestic and then run into her again at the Orpheum, and then the next day she posted something on in the community or whatever about running into us, and it turns out I was Facebook friends with her, and I feel bad for not recognizing her, but anyways.
Well, I ran into a gentleman named Eddie Anderson at the 24-hour race, and we were right at just at the beginning. And he said, "Are you Wilson?" And I said, "I am." And he said, "I'm Eddie Anderson." He was from like Fayette County, super country guy, super nice guy. And he said, I love y'all's podcast. He said, "I used to listen to the ultra running podcast, and I like them. Okay." He said, "I started listening to y'all," and he said, "I tell you, man, I just laugh." He said, I pulled into the garage, and my wife came home and said, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "Baby, you got to come out here and listen to this. This man's talking about shaving his whole body." He said, "They're just getting on to you and giving you all this grief." And he said, "They said something about one point about you wearing assless chaps." It was just so much fun to talk to him. And I don't know where he went. He had done like 74 miles or 71 miles the year before, but I never saw him again. But it's crazy how on that 1 mile loop you can disconnect with somebody
And just never see them.
and never see him again.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Hilston was out there all the time we were out there, and I think unless I was sitting in the chair for 20 minutes a time, I may have seen him on the course once.
Yeah. I saw him a couple times. And I hardly ever see you, and got lucky enough to hit a couple loops with you. And I have a shout out for Allison from my Sunday school class. She kind of heard what Wilson and I were doing and was interested and signed up for the Haiti race and came out. And she actually motivated me and had me. This is the reason I got first in my age group, is because I wasn't going to walk during the heat. Run. I was going to walk the whole time while the sun was out, and then run when it went down. And we walked 2 minutes on running, 1 minute walk, and we did that for miles. And she did the furthest she's ever gone. She's only done 13.1, and she did a marathon, right?
She was at least she was at like 25.
she was at
That's
20.
all.
I think she was at 26 miles when
Yep.
she was injured or whatever and had to go home.
And she was developing a blister and a sore spot on her heel. And I told her, "Don't injure yourself further if you're feeling it." She said,
Yeah,
"All
so
right."
she got you to your goal. Your
Yeah.
goal for the entire 24 hours was done by like hour 4, 5, 6, whatever it was. So
Yeah, because I said I was only going to do 30 at the most. And then she had me there already.
Well, I missed it. It was really hard for me to sit on the beach and drink beer
I'm sure.
while you
But
were
you
doing all
persevered.
that.
You fought through adversity.
I did.
That's what I admire
did.
about you.
PR, beach beer.
Definite PR.
When I tell you that the nipple situation was a problem, I went through probably 10 pairs of nippies.
sure.
Now, I will wear those things I've never had to wear more than a pair.
Right.
Like I'll wear those things for a 50-mile race, a 24-hour race, take a shower, go swimming, whatever, and I still got to peel them off. And for whatever reason, these things were not sticking, and I was dying.
So this is a good segue to start talking about Daily Dumbbell.
That's where today's post came from.
Yeah. So today's
is.
post was about nippies and people dying at a race because the nippies were failing or whatever. But
Three
I had to
killed, 7
laugh
injured.
because, like, as I do, I tweeted at nippies just to try and draw attention to the Daily Dumbbell article. Like, so every time we mention like a company, I always tweet
Did they
directly
send you
at
a
them.
cease and desist letter.
No, but Wilson just like immediately came back and he's like, well, you need to go, because the only thing I come up with was, well, where do I find a list of authorized dealers? And he's like, oh, you should go straight to the website, and I proudly wear them and blah blah blah. Like, just totally backed off of it being even remotely funny, but we'll see if we get any attention out of it anyway.
Well, and I think that's kind of the goal. I mean, I want anybody that reads an article like that to understand the humor in it, and also see that the people at Nippies, I would like to think, would read that and think at the end of the day it's good publicity.
Sure.
It's a joke. Obviously, I hope they would know that it's a joke. And I do have a relationship with them because they've given us stuff for
oh wow,
Lift Heavy,
I
Run Long.
didn't realize that. Okay.
Samples to give out and discount codes. And so, when they see something like that, I think it's great that they can, hopefully enjoy it,
Right.
or call and be like, you're a complete dick for, mentioning our company. Like
Don't
that.
do that again.
We didn't get crap from Concept 2. We didn't get crap from Assault Bike.
See, and I tweeted it all.
It's hard to do that.
I've tweeted
Do you
every one of those
pay
articles.
attention to Swanson's tweets?
I so seldomly get on Twitter, unless it's just like the hurricane or some catastrophe. Twitter's usually a good place. I'll go for that kind of thing, but I don't browse Twitter and follow.
I always
stuff.
try and find some way to make a comment, like retweeting the article, but adding a comment where I can tag the company and not make it seem like I'm going out of my way to tag them.
Right,
like I'm
all
just
right.
just mentioning them, and we haven't gotten
You
any
can get,
feedback
like,
on them.
I don't know how big that company is. Tailwind is pretty good about it.
It just depends on who their social media person is.
Yeah,
and
it's just so hard. The bigger the companies get, the harder it is.
I think it depends. I think it depends on what their social media policy is, and who their social media person is. Because I disagree. It has to do with the size of the company. Because I've gotten responses from Samuel Adams Beer before, and I've gotten responses from like Wendy's and a bunch of other
Yeah,
places.
you're right.
It's
definitely who's in charge.
If they've got some smart ass
Wendy's
25-year-old,
is hilarious.
yeah.
Oh, Wendy's
Wendy's
is on there.
Whoever's
Yeah,
doing that
yeah.
is a
But I mean,
blowtorch.
but that's the thing. Like it's there has to be a decision at a corporate level that we're going to be a fun Twitter account or we're not going to be a
Right.
fun Twitter account. Like this is going to be a very serious corporate account and it's only going to be for corporate, approved messages, or go have fun with it and make sure that we get some attention out of it and, do what you want to do kind of thing.
But they also probably pay somebody to do that.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
have a
what
social media person
You know what
or
I
a
mean?
team of people.
And-
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
or another company, but some companies, I don't know, Nike probably has people that do their social media stuff, but if I post a thing about some article I wrote about Nike, they're not.
Yeah, they're going to be too
It's gonna have to
stiff-shirt
clear
about it.
different
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
Right.
They're going to be
not in their
entirely
scheme.
too stiff shirt.
CrossFit had those people till they fired them a month ago.
They did. They're all gone. So.
Well, there's some 25-year-old burnout who rides a skateboard to work at Wendy's is probably making six
And that's
figures.
the guy you
a
need.
year.
That's the
Yeah,
guy.
he's
Yeah.
hilarious, and that guy is killing Twitter.
Yeah.
And it does everything for Wendy's. I mean, what is a guy like that worth globally? To have the kind of publicity that he's raised. And I guess we should probably explain for people that don't know, Scott is one of the, what would be the word, founder?
Author?
I don't know. He's an author for the Daily Dumbbell. And the Daily Dumbbell is the most trusted source for fake news in the fitness industry. And it's a satirical website where we make up stuff. And I guess, Scott, did you start it? Who started it?
I think it started. Was it you or you?
I remember the morning the three of us had a conversation at the gym.
about Natasha being
about Natasha
my wife.
being the
Perpetual new member.
perpetual new member of the month. Yeah,
Right.
that is kind of the way.
That was the genesis.
Yeah,
right
that was
there.
the. Yeah, we talked about creating a newsletter, like a OBCF newsletter,
Yeah.
and we would have different stuff in it, and we would have some funny articles in there. And I was like, yeah, and Natasha's going to be the new member of the month every single month, because Natasha, she'll come for like a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks sometimes, and then disappears for a month, and then she comes back for a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks. And so every time she walks back in after being gone, I'm like, oh, everybody, let me introduce you to our new member, Natasha. So anyways.
And that coincided.
Originally, Gary Cale had the heart attack.
That's right. That was the first. That was the first thing.
And
was.
Scott
Wow.
posted a fake news thing.
Newspaper
that said,
Yeah, like a
article.
TV,
Right.
a TV news.
CrossFitter had fakes heart attack, plays Fortnite.
That's right.
And so that was kind of the
Yeah,
idea.
so there was a couple things that happened at the same time. That,
And then y'all started talking about Natasha. And then I asked you a question while you were coaching, and you were just like that is the dumbest question I've ever been asked. And I said, we should be journaling this stuff. Like, we should have a newsletter for all the funny things that happened at
yeah.
CrossFit. And so then you said, you're the one that suggested the website, I believe.
I don't remember. I remember it was roughly the same time that Russell Berger got let go from CrossFit.
Yes.
For kind of, saying some things
Losing
that
his
obviously
damn mind.
CrossFit didn't approve of, which I thought was a little bit odd, because that's exactly the type of ardor and zealousness that CrossFit paid him to do on their behalf for topics they liked. And then he had been saying that kind of stuff for years, and apparently he finally just stepped on it, and they were like, "Ah, we gotta let you go." So anyway, and the reason I mention that is because it was Berger and another dude
Overheard press.
had the overheard press.
Which was great.
Is
and
it gone now?
Yeah, it just kind of evaporated. It may still be out there, have some presence, but they're not doing anything.
It was
because
funny.
It was great. It was kind of the same thing we're doing now. They got a lot more traction than we did, because people knew that it was Berger and it was closely affiliated, not in the official CrossFit sense, but closely tied to CrossFit HQ, and so they got a lot of traction.
They had a lot of direct access to inside type stories that they
Yeah,
knew they could spin
right.
into funny stuff.
And I really thought we would attract some of their audience, but we haven't been able. I tell you who scooped up that audience was CrossFit Trump on Instagram.
CrossFit Trump kills it.
Yeah.
But
Excuse me. Now he's Make WODs Great Again.
Make WODs great again. He must spend a lot of time doing that. He puts up probably 15 posts a day.
I read something about, he's liked some of our dumbbell stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But I read something the other day where he said that he has some apps that he does that with, and he says he can do it, and he can make 5 or 6 in the morning time. He said I can do them quickly. My brain just works that way, so
I
I
can
make them
tell
in the
that.
morning, and
Do
I
we
just
know that guy? Who is he?
I don't know who he is. He's a banker, I think, somewhere.
Well, he needs to come on the podcast.
He should be on the
You
podcast.
don't know what part of the country he's in or anything like that?
No, but somebody can.
Who
send
can
him
find
a-
that?
Brian can find that out.
Swanson can.
Well, we'll tag him in this.
Tag him in a tweet and then make it happen.
You guys write a
We're
daily
talking
dumbbell
about you.
about him. I'll tag him
That's
in
pretty
it.
good.
That
idea.
is a good
That's how to
idea.
get anybody's attention.
There
That
you
is
go.
now the way to get anybody's attention.
Maybe that should be the next dumbbell article. The feud between CrossFit intellectual property lawyers going after
That's right.
CrossFit Trump.
Fight breaks out at Hooters.
Right.
You mentioned his brain, the way that his brain works. I can tell that guy you could probably just put 10 photographs and say make a meme of all
Right.
10, and he'd just spit out funny stuff all the time.
Well, talking along those lines, like I feel like Scott, like your mind kind of works that way a little bit, because I think it was in Slack when you guys were still building the site. Like, we created a dumbbell channel, and you guys brought me into it, and like just within like 10 minutes, you guys had like 15 article titles like in there, and it was just random stuff, and I was like I can't even think that fast, let alone come up with all these like funny ideas, but they were all.
Well, and
Pretty awesome.
you said my only concern is that you're going to run out of material.
Right.
And I thought that won't happen. I mean, there is a surplus of idiots in the world, and we're producing more of them every day in mass.
So now that we're not a censored podcast and that Scott's here, can we talk about the article you wouldn't publish?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That one's still sitting there in the can, isn't it?
that is there.
Well, so
And I told you that you can publish that, but you have to physically go into WordPress and do the work.
all right. So
Because
let's,
What is this about?
all right. So you're a good. In fact, you are one of the reasons why he was reluctant to publish it.
And
because I love my in-laws,
just a
and I would
little-
like
right. He was scared about your. He was scared about your folks.
Just a little bit of backstory here in case you didn't listen to the previous episode where we talked about this. There is an article that Scott has written that he sent to Wilson that Wilson said, it is the article that will make us go viral, but it's also the article that will make me lose family members or something. I can't remember exactly how it
lose a
works.
seat at the Thanksgiving
Trigger
table.
warning.
Kind of
And,
thing.
well, and the it's not a problem. The thing about that is that that's perpetually the balancing act.
Absolutely.
And it's good. This whole thing is good for me. One, because I just love to write. I love the humor. I love the ridiculousness of it. I love the fact that some people think it's real. But it also helps me with my problem of overthinking. And I enjoy working with you because you do not. And so I ask you, what about this? And you're like, what about it? Like, there is no problem.
Zero fucks to give.
Yeah. And I asked him about one particular article. I said, do you think this is going to upset so-and-so? And he says, don't know, don't care. Publish it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that? Like,
but it would be something like, "Do you think this is going to upset Rich Froning?"
So what? He's not going to come on the podcast now, even though he was going to. Like,
Right. Do you think that the people that have millions of followers on their whatevers, they don't care about any? In fact, the more people they make angry, that's probably their goal.
Well, this was
You know?
somebody a little bit closer to home, this particular instance. But we were talking about, and another example was on the post that we're referring to, I said, we need to have a panel. We need to take some people with a sense of humor, but also some
Conservative
ethics. Let's get a Drew Womack. Let's, a good Christian guy who also, laughs at whatever, and run it by some people. And Scott said, no, because then they're going to poo-poo everything, and they're going to tell us no, and I don't want to be told no.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that's the way it should be. Like, why do I want? I'm not going to please.
you need that validation that it's
Yeah,
okay,
like it's
whatever.
okay. When, first of all, not that many people are going to read it, even if I want them to. Like, I can't even get enough people to read it to be offended in the first place.
I'm offended by the people that don't read the things that we write that we think are great.
And the thing-
Damn it, we only got like 7 likes. What?
And the doo-doo articles get shared hundreds of times. I'll write
Right,
something and
yeah.
I'll be like, this is going to be awesome.
Well, not Daily Dumbbell related, but it was funny. Vaughn posted some interaction stats for Lift Heavy Run Long's Instagram recently, and it's like all the content that he's putting out there, and he's killing it on social media and Instagram and everywhere else lately. And he posts this one thing of like this whale, and the whale is getting like more likes and shares.
I didn't
and
even
stuff
make
like
it
that.
up. Like
Yeah,
I saw
he just,
somebody,
like,
I copied it from someone else
Yeah.
because I thought it was funny and
And
shared
that's
it.
and that's
it
the
was
thing that like everybody loves or
Yeah.
whatever. So
4,000,
you just never know.
whatever.
Well, see, so that's why I think that article that we've just had sitting,
All right, so,
aging.
let's
in
hear
there,
it.
so we've given the
Let's hear it.
backstory now.
Okay.
So now
All right, let's hear it.
Well, you can't share the article. I mean,
Well, here's the premise of the article was just simply this: that there was outrage against a CrossFit coach for claiming that Jesus scaled the crucifixion
and it's
by using iron nails.
by using iron nails. He talks about his false, the false grip that should have been applied. And it's so well written and it's so funny. And it's so like, I get it. Certain people will get it, but some people just are not going to allow themselves to get it. And it's going to enrage some people. And Scott says, any click is a good click. And I said, I don't agree with that. The click that doesn't get me back in the front door of my mother's house is not a good click. So,
I don't think Dad reads it, but Dad would definitely freak out.
he would shoot me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would kill me.
Well, think
But he
about
doesn't.
what-
He already doesn't read it because I
Right, he
had the
doesn't.
F word in the.
In the title.
Here's where we are, which is
Correct.
like you can't get that joke. Like if you can get that joke, then you get it. You are you understand comedy, right? If you don't get that joke and you're seriously offended,
You're not going to get the joke anyway.
or many of the
you
other ones.
just-
So it's really not the
I can't.
audience.
There's not a conversation to even have with that person. Like I understand my father or whatever may get angry about that, but I can't. It's funny,
He's not.
right?
I'm
Like,
going.
it's funny because that's if you look at it from that. I don't even know what I haven't even read the article, but I heard the premise of the joke. But if you look at it
it's
from the
going up
perspective
tomorrow.
of
It's going up tomorrow.
if
When
you look
the-
at it from the perspective of the CrossFit coach or the Crossfit person,
When you got
you're
like the head of the
you
Southern
know,
Baptist Conference on the news talking about this article that was written, then you've
Did
won.
you win?
You won.
Okay,
You know, like-
that's the question. I think that's probably what I need to learn is that ultimately that is probably more the goal than it is to
Yeah,
be
like
invited
it's
to
it's
the
meant to be
the Southern
satirical and
Christian.
sensational and everything else. So I mean, it is what it is. So
I'm just thinking of like three or four
and the
more
guy
jokes I
gets,
could
and it
pile
ends,
on.
it ends badly for the guy. The article, I mean, he ends up getting stoned at the end. You know?
Scott,
Oh man,
and Scott makes it clear that Scott made it clear. He's like, I'm making fun of atheists. I'm not making fun of Christians. Like, they should be able to distinguish that. And I'm like, they're not going to distinguish it. They're going to start burning buildings as soon as they read the
hopefully that would be
title.
great.
I mean,
if somebody burned
the
the building down
location is
because of a daily
CrossFit
dumbbell.
sacrilege.
Well, we the one about the one that a month or so ago about Greg Glassman not being satisfied with the war on fitness and deciding to invade Russia. I mean, that's 1941 Hitler joke. Nobody accused us of being pro-Nazi.
Well, that's the difference in our style and your style of writing. It's clearly, when I write an article, it's clear that I wrote the article. When Scott writes an article, it's clear that Scott writes the article, because you're so knowledge based. Like that article you wrote about World War II, I didn't understand a single word it said.
Scott's a history guy. So,
But it's
yeah.
funny. What's funny about that is, though, I know you wrote the article when you say things like, "It felt like I put my tits in a wood chipper," and that makes me
That's
go,
a Wilsonism.
Oh, I'm
That
like,
is definitely a
oh,
Wilsonism.
I don't want to say that.
Or he says things like
You know.
Grundle. Yeah, Wilson.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I can't share that with my mom, but I'll share the Jesus thing.
But we ultimately did kind of bounce it off some people, and we got some positive. Nobody said, "Oh my gosh, y'all are all going to hell and you're going to be struck by lightning." So we had some. I don't think we got any. Did we get any bad
No.
feedback
I think we only
from
ran it
our
past
little
one
sounding
person.
board people?
We only ran it past Drew.
He's a good one.
I would say he would be a good litmus test for that, but also I would say, like, just screw it and pull the trigger. What's going to happen is you would do it and nothing would happen.
That's right.
And
What's
nobody-
It'll sail
the-
under. Yeah, nobody.
What's the legal term? Plausible deniability? I want plausible deniability.
Yeah, well,
That's
you
why.
just-
That's
I'll
why
just-
he wants you to click
Well,
the
I'll
publish
give you better
button.
than plausible
You've got-
deniability. You just
you've got-
flat out lay it off on me
I've-
to your in-laws.
Oh, I certainly will. Yeah, that's a foregone
Thanksgiving.
conclusion.
Well, you should,
I didn't
you
write
should
the
be
article.
friends
I
with
didn't
that
publish
lawyer.
it. I didn't.
Right. So you send me these articles and you're like, here, publish this. And I'm like, I don't argue because you're an attorney and I'm a weed killer. So I've got more time.
Well,
I
actually,
assume,
not that dissimilar.
to do that. True story. And so you need to learn to get into WordPress and set it yourself and publish it yourself.
I know.
And I'll send you your login information for the 7th time if you want me to do
Or
it.
you can send it to me and I'll do it, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
So you're just not wanting any fingerprints on this at all?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's
I want to
what-
be able to.
That's
I
why
want to
he's
be
got to
able
have
to
his own
say.
login
Well,
too.
So
We
why
can
don't
make
you
that
just
happen.
create Scott's own login and
Well, he
put it
has. He
under,
has, but
and
I've
then you
been-
put it under Scott's name?
Because I want to be telling the truth when I'm talking to, my
Jesus.
Aunt Myrtle. When I'm talking to Peter, St. Peter, and I'm like, look, that Hollis guy, he should be burning right now. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Gotcha.
I thought that was one of the very first ones we wrote too.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
we-
like
I
week 1,
remember-
week 2. I mean,
Which one?
Because
the
The Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Scaling
yeah, it
the
was.
crucifixion
And I
thing.
immediately was like, nah.
Yeah.
and then started rethinking the whole thing.
Because
like, this was
it
bad.
was about a week or two into the Daily Dumbbell, and we talked about it on the show for a minute, and you were like, "Oh, there's this one article that I just can't like. It's the one that's going to make us go viral, but I just
It's
can't
not
publish
what I
it."
expected. I don't know what I was expecting, but that's not it.
Well, it's hard to. I'm intrigued at your situation and where you are in your career and the things that you do in the first place. You know, a highly successful attorney who presents himself this way, who then plays in a rock band on the weekends that is totally cool and totally awesome, but totally not what you would think your attorney would be doing on the weekend. And then having the dumbbell and being able to, which I think is the way more people should be. You know, that's what you want to do. I do this, and I do this, and I don't make any bones about it. Whereas I'm guilty of thinking that there should be like a structured pattern. You know, if
You don't want anybody to know you're doing drag shows on a Saturday night.
Well, hey, you're not.
I mean, nobody expects anything from me. I mean, I sling fertilizer. I can do.
But wait a minute. Well, why would you say that you're not doing all those things too? You've got your business, right, which is done well, right? You're raising a family, which is done well, right? You're a serious endurance athlete. You've done well. You've got all of this, and you've turned it into a thing, right? Done well. So I don't know that you're. You talk as if you're comparing apples to oranges, and I don't really think that you are. From
Well,
anybody
nobody
else's
ever
perspective.
says I was disappointed in the way my landscaper acted.
Yes, they do. I bet they do. But one thing,
I guess maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong.
Yeah,
you're-
you may not be well respected as a landscaper, but there are many communities that you walk into, and you are a well respected person in that community. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I think Lift Heavy Run Long. I think the Memphis running community. I think even F3 now. You know, those guys have mad respect for you. There's a lot of different places that you are.
I think you're maybe
well
you're
thought of.
thrown off by the lawyer thing,
I am.
which is not as impressive as
well,
might think.
which is what I want to ask you. So you're not in big corporate lawyer
Anymore.
world anymore, and
Right.
you were. Were you playing? You were playing in the rock band when you were in corporate. Did your colleagues there know that you were in the rock band, or did you kind of?
No,
keep
they
that
knew.
in?
They knew.
And
Yeah. I mean,
so-
it wasn't like it was a giant secret. It was just, I don't play golf. I don't play tennis. I don't really hunt or fish. That was my thing.
I just wail, bro.
Right.
Just kick ass on the weekends.
And it was fun. It was novel. I mean, I guess it still kind of is, right? But, I don't know. I think you're being too hard on yourself, or maybe elevating the lawyer part of me more so than it actually deserves.
Well, I'm complicating the whole issue, which I do with everything.
In life.
My entire life.
She's
is
nodding
over
furiously.
Thinking. Amanda agrees.
Yes.
I don't know why, but she does.
She's being nice to the guest.
Oh, can I tell a story?
Sure.
So we went to see Scott perform a few weeks ago. And so it was us, CrossFitters, and one of our CrossFitters brought a friend from work, and Scott's coming up talking to us before the gig.
This is
and
embarrassing.
it was so funny. And so we're talking, and he looks over at one of the CrossFitters' friends from our gym, and he's like, "Man, you look super familiar. I feel like I've met you somewhere before." She goes, "Oh my God, you're my divorce lawyer."
Well, wait. In all actuality,
Don't say their name.
I'm not going to say her name. I ended up having to get out of that case for a technical reason, so I had to pass the baton to another lawyer. But it's weird. See, I'm sure it's weird for people that know me as a lawyer to see me in a rock and roll band, and I'm sure I tell you, it's weird for me to see people out of context.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like,
That's just like the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, when you see somebody out of scrubs and like real clothes, you're like, "I think I know you."
Right.
Oh yeah, I work with you.
Yeah. I think that guy's a lawyer, but surely he wouldn't be playing in a
trying to think,
dirty rock band.
That's
in a
what
seedy
I'm
bar.
talking about. We place people in these positions, and we don't think that they're allowed to get out of those
Right.
positions.
Right.
And I think that I'm at fault.
How's that working
in
out?
that. Yeah, it's not good. Let me ask you something from the legal standpoint of the Daily Dumbbell or anything else for that
Right.
matter. How easy is it to get sued for slander, libel, or whatever we're doing?
Well, we're not doing anything that any rational person would believe to be true, right? I mean, It's not like we're saying, Rich Froning got caught, taking PEDs. That would be
And just left
that
it
would
as
be
that.
right. That would be defamatory, right?
And presenting that as if
it was
true.
fact. Yeah, we're writing stuff that's so absurd that it's
No rational person would
Right.
believe
No rational person would believe that's true. No rational person is going to believe that Greg Glassman is going to launch a war and invade Russia.
It looked like he was. That was pretty good Photoshop.
That was a
on the
great
tank.
Photoshop by you, by the way. In fact, I think that's one of the ones that the CrossFit Trump liked. But I don't think there's anything that's remotely defamatory about what we're doing. We're not really selling products either, so we're not like we're using
yet.
Using somebody's likeness in order to sell some product that we've got. We're just out there writing goofy stories and having a good time. And I can tell you what's going to happen if anybody was ever to be so put off by something that we did and we were to get some sort of cease and desist letter or something, it would be, okay, we'll take it down.
We just unpublish that one article.
And it's
All right.
that post. I mean, nobody comes and
Yeah, but-
shuts you down and says you just can't be doing
Looking
that.
at it on a bigger scale beyond Daily Dumbbell, there's you got The Onion, you got what's the Babylon
B. That's all
know,
the
like
same
there-
stuff.
there's a-
Babylon B is so funny.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Drew Womack is the one that republishes
That's
those
what.
most of the time.
That's what we're going to do. The Jesus crucifixion article. We're going to tag Babylon B in that one.
There you go.
Pay
That's a
attention,
good
Swanson.
idea. That's a good idea.
That's your job.
Are they
I'm on
a
it.
religious thing?
It's a religious
only?
satire.
It's a religious satire.
Okay. I haven't read.
Like
enough
they
of
just
it. I
posted
noticed
it-
Did
they
you
were-
see
they
the
po-
one
they
where they
posted an art-
found the
Yeah, they-
strobe
that's
lights
exactly what I
from
was-
Sermon on the Mount?
I saw that. That's pretty funny.
The archaeologist.
they're all
Which
good.
now, when
It's-
you say it that way, like that makes your post even more okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you
I
can
think
if
those
you can
guys
go-
would get it. Those guys would
Yeah.
get the joke about
Yeah, totally. I think it's yeah.
if
for
Jesus
sure.
had a good false grip, he wouldn't have used those nails. They'd get that.
Well, speaking of people believe, I think we
But your
talked
dad,
about
your dad
this.
would not get that.
No.
He wouldn't get the
No.
false grip part.
No.
But he wouldn't get to that because he'd
He
be so
wouldn't get-
pissed
No, he
off
wouldn't get
about
to
the
that.
whole
No,
You
Jesus
just can't
thing.
touch the subject.
The computer
Why
would
is
be
your dad
shattered.
reading the Daily Dumbbell anyway?
Oh, he's definitely not. The title of it, he didn't get past the title. He's like, Wilson asked me to like this Daily Dumbbell thing.
Oh, well, that's your problem. What are you doing that for?
And-
I just sent it to everybody.
And I just can't support something like that. It has the F word in the title. It's like, okay, Dad, you don't have to like it. It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
where
my
you
dad.
went wrong.
He's
in
super
the
What are you
first
doing
place.
over there
Christian.
pondering so deeply? You're like going, well, this is really going off the rails or something like that.
He's thinking ahead to Thanksgiving and Christmas and how awkward they're going to be.
But what's funny is my mom would think it was funny.
You think she would?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all
They're
I
just
need. As long as I
totally
got your mom's
different.
support, I'm good.
Mom's the one that buys Christmas presents, so
That's
right.
as long as he
I got
gets
my
his,
birthday
his
card from
sausage
Sweetness.
log, or
Label
what is
two.
it that you get every year?
She sent me some Baconaise, Vaughn, if
Oh,
you want to
that's-
try it.
No.
Kind of gross looking. In
It's
the
like
jar.
twice the fat and half the bacon kind of
The-
thing. Make
the,
bacon and mayonnaise together.
We had mentioned the believability of the articles. I think that all of them are believable to a certain segment of the world. I don't even know if I told you about it. I've mentioned it on the show, I'm pretty sure. But the second day that the dumbbell was in existence and we had a backlog of articles, we had the one that was the one that I said about the plus-sized runner forcibly removed from the aid station.
That one got a lot of traction, right?
Yeah, I mean it got over 1,000 shares on Facebook. I mean we had 10,000 visitors on our second
Wow.
day.
Yeah, we thought we had hit a gold mine. We thought
yeah.
we have
This is
This is
gonna
it.
be
This is
every
going to be
day.
a gold mine, right?
And I wake up to all these posts, all these tags on because we never posted it. Somebody went to the website,
Right,
read
right.
it, and pulled it off.
Yeah, you guys
website.
pre-filled the website to make it look like the website had been there for a while
Yeah.
with like 6, 8, 10 articles, and then you were going to slowly go back and share the ones that were already on there, right?
Correct.
Or something like that, yeah.
And we posted the one about Brian Williams' race with no finish line.
Right, and
And that was a big hit. And so that drew a lot of people. And so I wake up to all these tags on Facebook about, Wilson Horrell and what a dick this guy is for flipping tables and demanding ranch and making somebody stand up and take their seat. And then there's other people who are saying, I've researched this guy. He's a real runner, like a real person. I'm thinking people have gone through, they're going through that. And another lady's like, oh no, that's Wilson. I love this guy. He paints his toenails before he power lifts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do people have this information? Like, how are they finding
Well,
this
you've
stuff?
had 118 podcasts, for God's sakes.
But I don't think that there is a level of believability that is, all of them will be believable.
I don't think anybody that was actually even marginally plugged into the running piece, the fitness piece, the CrossFit piece, if they read any Daily Dumbbell article, they're going to know it's a gag.
I
right?
think the better articles, though, are the ones that are almost believable.
Well, yeah, that's the
like,
goal.
April Hilston was talking again this weekend about the fact that she still regularly has to tell people that the article was a joke, that
Sean made it to their
did
child's
make
birth.
it to the birth, and
Yes.
blah blah blah, and like, but it was, it's just so close to the truth, or close to believable that like people are like, April, did that really happen?
Yeah.
And she has to explain that, and it's. I don't know. I just think those are the ones that are going to get the best traction.
But we have good
the
friends
one
like that
it's just,
she's good with explaining it.
That's true. That's true. And there's also, I find comfort in the fact that almost all of the things that I write about are something that I've experienced on some extent. I mean, we've all thought about skipping something really important for a run. It's not like I'm just going out and throwing darts at people in the fitness industry, because I'm in the fitness part of it. So these things are near and dear to my heart. That way I feel more comfortable throwing darts at them, as opposed to just sitting in my lazy boy.
And like when Glassman and they came out and announced I thought a very poorly organized and poorly managed way they were going to revamp everything about the Open and regionals and the games. Well, that was just there was a target-rich environment. How many articles did we get out of that? Mm-hmm. 6 or 8. Mm-hmm.
the road to nowhere.
The road to nowhere. And that was it's your old buddies. I don't know if but we had.
Oh yeah.
The
The
barbell shrug.
Nobody
guys.
ever acknowledged that. That should have been acknowledged on their end.
Just like that was a really funny post.
Yeah, they didn't think it was though. Clearly, I thought the
No
CrossFit
one ever saw it.
the CrossFit Cruise Lines was.
That was a good
funny.
one.
They had to have seen it. They were tagged in it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they saw it, and they're not big enough to be that busy.
Unless Mike was in his yurt in Mongolia or wherever, off the grid.
So somebody like I guess one of my questions would be somebody who has a high legal presence. Somebody like it seems like CrossFit is almost above. So if somebody slips in a Kroger parking lot, they get $100,000 or whatever. But nobody ever gets sued in CrossFit gyms for dropping barbells on
No,
their
but they
cranium.
do. They do occasionally. They do
they?
occasionally. And the guy that was leading the charge defending CrossFit was Russell Berger.
Oh,
And he
now
was
he's gone.
fantastic at that. And I think it was a terrible mistake on their part to get rid of him for some politically correct, statement. that he
leading the
made.
charge legally? Like
Oh, yeah,
as
he's
an
a lawyer.
attorney?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a lawyer and a good one. And he is. I mean, I think they actually created this title at some point and gave it some legitimacy. But he was referred to by others and sometimes himself as CrossFit's chief information officer, and he knew stats and articles and could recite that shit book and page. And he was. I think
He
they
was
did
ruthless.
He was great, and the same zealous pursuit of the truth that CrossFit was paying him to do to defend them is exactly the same kind of thing he did towards it with his faith, and had been doing them in parallel
It was
universes.
never a secret. At
Never
all.
a secret. He was always very out front with his, Christianity piece. And then he said something that pissed off the wrong crowd, and they threw a big fit, and then CrossFit lops off his head and sends him to exile.
That's the world we live in, man.
That's the modern America. And anyway, I think they did themselves, from a legal perspective, a big disservice. He was a fantastic lawyer and a fantastic defender of the brand.
And so tell me I'm wrong about this, but at this point, if he's won enough of those cases, then other lawyers can reference cases where he's won as a legal precedent for why you can continue to win again, right?
But it's not. Yes, there's some of that, but I mean, Berger was just fanatical about it.
It felt like he was a watchdog. Like,
he was a watchdog.
As an affiliate owner, I always felt like if something happened legit against my CrossFit affiliate, that dude would be there to attack whatever and help. You know, and
he was great at that job. I cannot believe. In fact, in a message between you and me and Dustin or something, I was like, there's no way they're going to get rid of Russell Berger. No way. He is.
I wouldn't have thought they would have either.
He's the
That's
sword and the shield.
That's the kind of information that you have that I think is cool. Like, you really know what's going on behind the scenes.
Well, no, I've had a little bit of interaction with some HQ people over the years.
Well, you read the internet.
And I've actually had some, conference calls here and there and that kind of thing about various and sundry things. And Berger and I have talked and done some, not really done anything, but at least communicated directly about some stuff. And I was just shocked when he said something that was, I guess perceived to be anti-gay or whatever. I saw it and I was like, well, whoop-de-doo, he's been saying that kind of thing for years. Big deal. And then, holy crap, firestorm, and 24 hours goes by and they fire him. I'm like, that is stupid. I was really surprised because he had been saying that. He'd been saying this stuff for years.
I mean, he's always, if you've been friends with him on Facebook, I mean, he's always been that way.
Right.
Well, maybe if he wouldn't have declined the invitation to come on the Lift Heavy Running podcast,
everything would have been.
Did he decline?
We could have had his back.
He was very nice. I'm teasing. I said, if you're ever in the area, come be on the podcast, and he was like, I'm never in the area.
Don't worry.
He's only in Huntsville. I mean, it's not like he's 1,000, million miles away.
Well, he's got spare time now.
He's got a podcast now too, like a
he does,
like a academic, churchy, religion kind of thing.
Really? Mm-hmm. So he's all right. It's not like he's panhandling. Not like he just threw away a
well,
good thing.
They have those $400 mics that they do their podcast with, so something's going okay.
You could have you could have it on for like some shop talk.
And the dude that he does it with has arms that are about this big around.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He thinks he's something, huh?
Yeah.
Get him, Swanson. Has he seen a picture of Swanson? Do you know how big Swanson is? He doesn't know. We don't have to tell him.
He doesn't.
He's behind the camera.
Yeah, right.
But
did I post
Swanson's big.
Did I post the picture in Slack this week of our group at the Chris Hope
yes.
10K?
And you said
I just love the fact that JT's taller than me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look freakishly tall because JT is like an inch or two taller than me, and so I look normal sized in that photo.
I didn't get around to it because these races get me too depressed. Like, I've been like depressed all week. I don't have any energy or motivation. But what I wanted to do was switch out that enormous fountain in the background. I was going to put that next to JT and put you as that huge fountain to where, like, basically all you could see is your chest.
Nice.
But
didn't get around to it.
So I have to say really quick, the Chris Hope 5K, 10K went well.
Yes, it did.
Congratulations for him. Good turnout. And Lift Heavy
Almost
Run
sold
Long.
out.
It did. And I was looking for the trophy, but Lift Heavy Run Long won second place.
Third place.
Third place. And the team for people
For
to come
biggest
together
team,
for
wow,
biggest
nice.
team. Yeah.
We should have a trophy here next week.
Yeah.
I also finished first before anyone else in the 10K. That was
Because you went how far?
about 2.5 miles.
Okay.
He got directed wrong on the course, just to be clear.
I got directed wrong on the course. There was about 5. There was a lot of people going the wrong way. There's a lot of confusion.
Yes, there was some confusion.
And the group that I was in was like 5 people, and we're all running. And there's kind of like, I think we're supposed to go this way. I felt pretty confident that we were going the right direction. And then somebody came in a car and they said, y'all are going the wrong direction. Y'all are going the wrong direction. And I just kind of, I shrunk down as if to become invisible. And I was like, I'm going in this direction. Like I'm done.
I don't know who
This is
you-
after the 24
How do you know where I'm going?
I'm going back to home base.
And then
So
I
at,
couldn't
the,
have been
at the
happier.
point that Amanda and I were finishing the race, another race was about to start. So they had
Yes.
cones out for a second course.
Right?
And we got and the courses like crossed each other,
do,
and
yeah.
so like the cops are out there and they're like looking at our bib to try and figure out which race we're at to figure out which way to tell us to go.
Yep.
It was just, and it's no fault of Chris Hope's.
No,
it was
no,
just
no.
there was a new course for Chris Hope, and their volunteers weren't well versed on which way to be directing people. But it turned out well. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
cause.
glad the course was short.
Me too.
Oh, I
It
couldn't
was a
be
good
happier.
cause. And shout out to April Hilston. She ran 50 miles of a 24-hour race and then won first place in her age group
And
at
smiled
the
the whole
Chris
damn
Hope
time.
10K.
Yeah, she runs
Yeah.
50 hours in
50
like the
50
first 11 hours of the race, 12 hours of the race, lays down, takes a nap, gets up, and goes to the
Chris Hope.
10K, and then first in her age group.
Yep.
It's like
Kills it.
those Hillsdons. They
Yeah.
just need to stay
Unbelievable.
home next time.
Saturday.
Saturday.
What is happening
there.
Saturday?
Saturday is the first annual. Is it? Can you call it an annual if it's the first?
Yes.
The first annual memorial workout for my wife, Carol Swanson. It is also Metastatic Breast Cancer Awareness Day, which is why we picked that date for it. And we're going to be doing a workout at Olive Branch CrossFit in her honor, and for those that are still fighting and those that have already lost their fight, but raising money for Medivivors, because I can't remember the exact stat, but of all the funding that is raised for breast cancer research, I think less than 5% of it actually goes to stage 4 breast cancer research, and Medivivors is looking to move that needle a little bit to improve those stats for people that have stage 4 breast cancer.
Regardless of your fitness level,
Regardless of your fitness level.
whether you do
should show
CrossFit
up.
or don't do CrossFit.
Correct.
You can
Whether
scale
you-
like Jesus did.
If you read the Daily
That should be a new
Dumbbell, you
shirt.
can come in.
Scale like Jesus.
Oh man.
Do you know what the workout is off the top of your head?
I do know what the workout is. I'm
But
not
you're not going
sharing
to tell
it.
me. Nobody knows.
You're not gonna
Oh,
say.
I don't.
I know.
I was
know-
thinking
I
about
know-
that today. I was like, I
what
don't know
it
the
is.
workout.
I know what it is. I can't recite it to you, but I've heard it.
Well, okay.
Please
then.
tell me.
And
no
it's also
box
open
jumps.
to spectators. Am I right?
It
People
is
that
open
like-
to spectators, but if you're going to show up, you might as well show up to work out because we can scale it for you.
That's right. Bring it.
Did we talk about walking tall?
We're at it. We did not. We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to at least mention it because we've done so well.
We have.
Walking Tall is next weekend.
Not this weekend,
Not
but
this
next
weekend,
weekend.
but next weekend. So we'll have one more podcast before that.
October 20th, I believe is the date.
I can't remember.
October 20th in Pocahontas, Tennessee at Big Hill Pond State Park, the first annual Walking Tall 25K, 50K.
25K is sold out. Get in on the
Yes.
50K.
It is.
It's going to be a breeze.
Do you have to carry a big stick?
You win a big stick.
win a big
if you
stick.
finish.
Is that the
If you
trophy
can-
like a
if you can
Buford
run
Pusser
fast.
Don't be-
Memorial?
All the age group awards are
They're pretty
are
cool.
sticks. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They did a good
Don't
job
be
with it.
planning on seeing my stick because,
Well, I've got a gig, so I will not be there.
well, I don't think I'll be at the finish line because it's supposed to be pretty hard and the cutoff times are pretty strict. So
I
think
saw
there's-
somebody post in the group the other day about somebody was, and don't know who it was, but I gathered that he had some trail running experience. He's posted something that said, "This is going to be an extremely difficult race."
Yeah.
Yeah, there was about 20. I'm going to say about 20 people, 15, 20 people that went and did the 25K course preview, and the resounding response after that was, "Prepare yourselves."
Well,
Just-
if I can finish Chris Hope's 10K in 2.5 miles, you're going to see what I can do at Big Hill Pond 50K.
You're just hoping
Talk to me.
you can pay some volunteers to misdirect you on the course to
I'm-
shorten it.
I'm going to cut through there and grab my stick and haul ass.
And Vaughn's gonna be the one to pull you off the course.
That's right.
I'll be the one to direct you to the wrong way.
I'll probably be getting somebody to go get Vaughn to come get me off the course.
Yeah, so you're
By
running
that
an
point in
aid
time.
station or
Yes,
something like
I
that?
am. Yep.
All right. We're out of time. Lift Heavy Run Long number 118 is in the books.
Yay!
Boom.
Happy birthday.